There's a man who hasn't paid $1 of credit card interest in 11 years. He uses his credit card for everything: groceries, gas, every bill he can put on it. Last year alone, he earned about $2,400 in cash back rewards. His neighbor uses the exact same credit card, same bank, same interest rate, same rewards program. Last year, his neighbor paid $2,100 in interest charges. One person is getting paid to use the card, the other is paying thousands for the privilege. Same card. Two completely different financial outcomes. And the reason has almost nothing to do with income or discipline. It has to do with how the credit card system is actually designed to work. And once you understand that system, you start to see why millions of people stay trapped in credit card debt for years. Here's what makes this situation strange. Credit cards have existed for more than 60 years. The rules are public, interest rates are public, fees are public, reward programs are public. Nothing about the system is hidden. And yet credit card debt in the United States just passed $1.3 trillion, which means the real problem isn't a lack of information. It's that the system feels intuitive, while actually working in the opposite direction from what most people assume. Most people think of a credit card as a payment tool, something that makes spending easier. But the bank doesn't see it that way. To the bank, a credit card is an income stream. And those two perspectives create completely different behaviors. When you see a credit card as a payment tool, you focus on convenience, the rewards, the points, the flexibility. But when the bank sees you as an income stream, the goal becomes much simpler: keep the balance alive for as long as possible. And once you start looking at credit cards through that lens, something important becomes clear. Almost every feature in the system, minimum payments, reward tiers, credit limit increases, is designed around that one objective. The question is, which perspective is guiding your decisions? I'm Leo, and today we're going to break down how this system actually works, so you can stop being the product and start understanding the machine behind it. If that sounds useful, consider subscribing. Now let's look at the numbers. Let's start with the number that quietly runs the entire system: 29.99%. That's the average credit card interest rate in the United States right now. To understand how extreme that is, compare it to other types of debt. The average mortgage rate sits around 7%. The average car loan is about 8%. A personal loan from a bank might be 10 to 15%. But a credit card? Almost 30%. That's not an accident. That's a business model. Now let's translate that number into something real. Imagine you carry a $5,000 balance on a credit card, charging 29.99% interest. You decide you're serious about paying it off, so you commit to paying $150 per month. At that pace, it takes 57 months to eliminate the balance, almost 5 years. By the time the card is finally paid off, you've paid $3,370 in interest. You borrowed $5,000. You repaid $8,370. The bank made $3,370 from one customer. One card, one balance. Now multiply that by 170 million credit card users in America. That's how you get numbers like $1.3 trillion in credit card debt. But here's the detail most people miss. The $150 payment we just used is actually higher than what most people pay. The minimum payment on a $5,000 balance is usually closer to $100 a month. So let's run that math instead. Same balance, same interest rate, minimum payments only. Now the payoff time jumps to 109 months. More than 9 years. Total interest paid? $5,890. You borrowed $5,000. You paid back $10,890. The bank more than doubled their money. And here's the most interesting part. You didn't break any rules. You made every payment on time. You did exactly what the card asked you to do. That outcome isn't a penalty, it's the intended result. Now let's talk about rewards, because this is where many people feel like they're winning. Most credit cards offer about 1.5% to 2% cash back. If you spend $2,000 a month, that means you're earning roughly $30 to $40. It feels like free money, and it is, but only under one condition. You pay the full balance every month. The moment you carry a balance, the math flips. A $2,000 balance at 29.99% costs roughly $50 per month in interest. You earned $30 in rewards. You paid $50 in interest. You're now paying about $20 a month for the privilege of earning rewards. The rewards program didn't fail. It's working exactly as designed. It's designed to make carrying a balance feel reasonable, even logical. Now, let's zoom out for a second. The average American household carries roughly $8,000 in credit card debt. At 29.99% interest, that's about $200 per month in interest alone. That's $2,400 a year. Not reducing the balance, not building wealth, just keeping the account alive. Over 10 years, that's roughly $24,000 in interest on an $8,000 debt, and the balance barely moves. This isn't a story about irresponsible people making bad choices. It's a story about a system that was mathematically engineered to produce exactly this outcome. And once you see the numbers clearly, the next question becomes obvious. How exactly is the system structured to keep balances alive for so long? The system works through 4 mechanisms. Each one seems helpful on the surface, but all 4 serve the same goal: keeping a balance alive for as long as possible. Mechanism 1. The minimum payment. This is probably the most powerful tool in the entire system. Every month, your statement shows 2 numbers: the full balance and the minimum payment. The full balance feels overwhelming. The minimum payment feels manageable, responsible even. So most people pay the minimum and feel like they handled the situation correctly. But what the statement doesn't emphasize is what that decision actually costs over time. By law, banks must include a payoff disclosure on every statement, usually buried near the bottom. Small print, it explains how long it will take to eliminate the balance if you only make the minimum payment, and how much interest you'll pay along the way. Most people never read it. The bank knows that. Mechanism 2. The grace period. This one is much more subtle. Credit cards usually include a grace period, roughly 21 to 25 days. During that window, new purchases don't accrue interest. That creates a powerful impression. Spend now, pay later, no cost. But the grace period disappears the moment you carry a balance. The moment you don't pay the card in full, interest begins accumulating immediately on every new purchase. Not from the due date, not from the statement date, from the moment you make the purchase. Most people don't realize this. They carry a small balance, maybe $200 from last month, and assume new spending is still interest-free. It isn't. That small balance quietly eliminated your grace period. Now every coffee, every grocery run, every tank of gas is accruing interest from the moment the card is used. Mechanism 3. The credit limit increase. At some point, almost every cardholder receives the same notification. Good news. Your credit limit has been increased. It feels like recognition, a reward for being a responsible customer. But the math behind it is simpler. A higher limit means a higher possible balance. A higher balance means more potential interest. The limit increase isn't really a reward. It's an expansion of the income stream. And it works because of something psychologists call utilization perception. When your limit is $5,000 and your balance is $2,000, you feel close to the limit. But when your limit becomes $10,000, that same $2,000 suddenly feels small. The debt hasn't changed, but the feeling has. And that feeling changes spending behavior. Mechanism 4. The rewards escalation. This is where the system becomes especially clever. Most people start with a simple rewards card, maybe 1.5% cash back. Then come the premium categories: 3% on dining, 4% on travel, 2% on groceries. Eventually, there's the premium card with an annual fee. But the rewards are so good, it pays for itself. Each step feels like optimization, a smarter way to use the system. And for people who pay their balance in full every month, it actually can be. But for everyone else, each upgrade does something else. It increases spending, it increases credit limits, and it adds more psychological reasons to keep using the card. The rewards don't change the math, they change how you feel about the math. And that's the key. The system working together. None of these mechanisms work alone. They reinforce each other. The minimum payment keeps the balance alive. The grace period disappears once the balance exists. The credit limit increase creates room for that balance to grow. And the reward system makes the entire experience feel positive. Even when the math is working against you, you're not winning, but the system makes it feel like you might be. And that feeling is extremely profitable. Last year alone, credit card companies generated more than $130 billion in interest and fees. Here's what makes this system genuinely difficult to escape. It's not just the interest rate, it's not even the fees. The real problem is that every mechanism we just described feels completely normal. Paying the minimum feels responsible. Getting a credit limit increase feels like progress. Earning rewards feels like winning. The system doesn't feel like a trap, because it was carefully designed to feel like the opposite. And there's a specific psychological principle behind this. It's called present bias. Present bias is the tendency to value what happens right now much more than what happens later. When you make the minimum payment, you feel relief immediately. The thousands of dollars in interest you'll pay over the next several years feel distant, abstract, almost unreal. When your credit limit increases, you feel trusted, flexible, like your financial situation just improved. The increased capacity to carry debt doesn't feel dangerous. It feels empowering. And when you earn rewards, the effect is even stronger. You feel like you're getting something back, a small victory. But the interest charges building in the background remain invisible. This isn't accidental. Credit card companies actively study these behaviors. They hire behavioral economists, psychologists, data scientists. Their job is to understand how people actually make financial decisions and design products around those patterns. Every statement is structured to make the minimum payment feel reasonable. Limit increases often appear right after periods of heavy spending, and rewards notifications arrive immediately after purchases. Each one reinforces the same behavior. Spend, carry the balance, keep the system running, and it works. The average credit card user carries a balance for about 47 months, almost 4 years. Not because people want to stay in debt, but because the system makes staying in debt feel less urgent than it really is. And here's the most important part. Simply understanding this system doesn't automatically change behavior. Knowing about present bias doesn't make the minimum payment feel less tempting. Understanding the math doesn't make the rewards notification less satisfying. Because the system operates on something deeper than information. It operates on human psychology, which means the real solution isn't just understanding the system. It's designing your finances in a way that removes the decision entirely. And that's where things start to get interesting. So where does that leave you? The credit card system isn't going anywhere. Interest rates won't suddenly drop. Minimum payments will keep appearing on every statement, designed to feel like the responsible option. And rewards will keep arriving, designed to make the math feel irrelevant. None of that will change. What can change is how you interact with the system. The man from the beginning of this video didn't find a secret strategy. He made one structural decision. He set his card to automatically pay the full balance every month. Once. After that, the decision never had to be made again. The same system that traps millions of people in interest payments started working in his favor instead. Same card, same bank, same system, just a different rule. And that single rule is the difference between paying the credit card industry or letting the system pay you.